So our plan for the next 50 years is that we'll develop 4 switches and make sure that we reduce and manage our energy consumption in order to balance our budget constraint in terms of carbon and energy. Issue of new LNG import licenses, and also to continue to strengthen our basic fundamental financial systems, data support system, in order to enable us to become a regional, if not global, LNG trading hub. The next switch that we want to talk about for the energy story will be solar. So we have set ourselves a target that by 2030, we will aim to deploy at least 2 gigawatt peak of solar energy. That will be about 10% of Singapore's daily needs. Now, having said that, in order to do solar energy well, we need another set of technologies, and that is the energy storage solution. We aim to deploy about 200 megawatts of energy storage solutions beyond 2025. The third switch that we would like to explore going forward in the next 50 years will be the possibility of a regional power grid. Today in Southeast Asia, some countries have abundance of hydro and other renewables. Today in Southeast Asia, if we can connect up the regional grid, it will provide greater resilience and stability for the entire system. The fourth switch is for us to explore other non-fossil based alternatives that are carbon-light. There are people who are already talking about carbon capture solutions. If we can do that, and if we can produce what we call green hydrogen or green energy, environmentally friendly hydrogen, combine that with industrial CO2, and we might be able to produce new forms of energy that are not envisaged before. That's why improving energy efficiency and utilization will be a critical prong to support the 4 switches that we have. And to do that, we must optimize our design from the macro to the micro level. We must be able to explore new energy efficient materials. We must be able to use data. We pride ourselves that we will define our success by how well we enable the next generation to do even better than us. And now the onus is on this generation to make sure that we leave behind a cleaner, more sustainable, more affordable, more reliable energy story for the next generation.
You know, the energy landscape is changing. And we, as people working for renewables, we really feel that we are on the right side of history. The change is there, is happening, and is unstoppable. Installed capacity of renewable energy has been regularly outpacing the installed capacity of the traditional plants. The last year, 170 gigawatts of renewable energy has been installed, and 1/3 of the global capacity now is coming from renewables. Solar and wind are more competitive than any other form of producing energy. Renewables. If we go for nuclear, it will take much more time. If you go for the traditional plant, we don't reduce the CO2. So this is the only alternative that we have with energy efficiency. Renewables are not damaging economic growth. They are increasing economic growth. If we go to 23% of renewables in this region, we will have an increase in GDP of around 3%. The net impact of renewables into the system will bring more jobs. And what is important, that half of this job, globally speaking, will become in this region. If we have to go and see a future world, we have to see another legal environment. We have to work for designing markets that may achieve the high quantity of renewables that is needed to have to stay in line with the Paris Agreement. So it's possible for our generation to change a path where the economic growth is undermine our wealth and well-being. I think that we all together, we can work to make this possible. It's our promise to the world. It's possible.
Strategy, we call it the 3Ds. So what does it mean? We talk about the idea of decarbonization, which is our main goal, and Francesco talked about. We need to decarbonize. The way we do it is by decentralizing an energy system. And the only way to do it is by doing this digital. We have 2 million people which are producing and consuming energy at the same time. The grids we have never been designed to do that. So you need to bring digital capabilities to actually be able to do this. You have to look, and this is what I like, you have to look at the buildings and at the grid at the same time. So the only way to do the 3Ds is that you start connecting, putting intelligence, building IoT, and bringing it together. So even if we're going in electrifying more and more renewables, we actually have to push into e-mobility. We have to push more and more to adapt also the housing in this environment. So we have an issue. It's not only about bringing more renewables, but electrifying more of the sectors and bringing down the sectors which are connected to them. We want to do the same with air conditioning. Just bringing up 1 degree less air conditioning or putting more renewables into air conditioning can save 300 kilograms of CO2. We need to break down the barriers to do this. Yes, we had a good start, but we have to do more. Let's do it together, and let's do it fast.